How to emotionally detach from someone. Part 1. Understanding. Emotional attachment. Why we hold on one. The quiet ache of attachment. There are moments when life feels heavy not because of what is happening, but because of who we can't let go of. You wake up thinking of them, you go to sleep replaying conversations, and every small silence reminds you of the absence that now fills the room. You tell yourself you're fine. You try to move on. You stay busy. But inside, something clings to the hope, to the memory, to the version of yourself that existed when that person was near. This is attachment. It's invisible but powerful. It ties your emotions to another person's choices, your peace to their presence, your confidence to their attention. And eventually you begin to ask the question every heart must face. How do I let go without losing myself? 2. The nature of attachment begins innocently. You meet someone who brings light to your days. They listen, they care, they make the world feel warmer. The brain does what it's designed to do. It links that person to safety and comfort. Psychologists call it emotional imprinting. The Stoics called it mistaking externals for good. Epictetus warned that people suffer when they confuse what's theirs to control with what's not. When you anchor happiness in another person, you build your peace on moving ground. It's natural to connect, but it's dangerous to depend. 3. Why letting go feels like losing yourself. When a bond ends, it's not only the person you lose, it's the identity you built around them, the routines, the shared jokes, the plans, even the small rituals they form part of who you think you are. So when it breaks, you feel like you've lost direction. But Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. You haven't lost yourself. You've lost a chapter. The story continues, and you are still the author. 4. The illusion of control. One reason detachment hurts is that we believe we can manage another person's feelings if we just try hard enough. We analyze texts, replay words, imagine new conversations as if enough thinking could rewrite reality. But control ends where another person's will begins. The Stoic practice is to bring energy back to what's yours, your conduct, your response, your choices. When you stop trying to control outcomes, you rediscover control over yourself. 5. The emotional loop attachment often runs in cycles: hope, disappointment, justification, repeat. Each round keeps you hooked. You promise you'll stop caring, then one message pulls you back. This is not love anymore, it's conditioning. Epictetus taught, when you kiss your child, say to yourself, tomorrow he may die. He didn't mean to stop loving. He meant to love with awareness, to enjoy the moment fully, knowing it can end. That awareness breaks the loop of denial and teaches emotional realism, a Stoic's greatest peace. 6. When love becomes dependence, real love adds strength. Attachment drains it. You know dependence has formed when you stop asking, are we right for each other? And start asking, how can I keep them no matter what? That shift is subtle but dangerous. It turns affection into anxiety and care into control. Stoic wisdom says, cherish what's good, but never let it own your reason. Because the moment you must possess someone to feel whole, you've lost the freedom that makes love beautiful. 7. The fear beneath attachment. At its core, attachment is fear of being alone, of emptiness, of uncertainty. We cling not because the bond is healthy, but because solitude feels unbearable. The Stoic trains the opposite reflex to make peace with solitude, to see alone time not as absence, but as space for restoration. Marcus Aurelius wrote, Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul. When you learn to enjoy your own company, detachment stops feeling like loss. It becomes liberation. 8. The stories we tell ourselves. The hardest part of letting go is not the person, it's the narrative. You built a story, how things were meant to go, what could have been, who you were together. When reality changes, the story doesn't. It keeps replaying, refusing to end. But Stoicism teaches to see things as they are, not as we wish them to be. Acceptance begins when you stop editing life and start observing it. Every ending is simply life-changing form. 9. The addiction to memory. The mind revisits the past like a favorite song. It recalls the warmth, the laughter, the affection, but forgets the silence, the misunderstanding, the imbalance. That's not honesty, that's selective nostalgia. Seneca warned, "He suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary." Every time you relive the past, you invite new pain into a moment that should be healing. The Stoic discipline is to remember with gratitude, not longing. Say, "It happened, it mattered, and it's over 10. Emotional detachment. Misunderstood. 10. Emotional detachment. Misunderstood. Detachment is often mistaken for indifference, but indifference closes the heart. Detachment opens it wisely. You can still wish someone well while walking away. You can still care, and yet choose calm over chaos. Epictetus compared life to a voyage. When the ship is at anchor, be ready to leave when the captain calls. Detachment is readiness, the ability to appreciate what's here without collapsing when it's gone. 11. Reclaiming emotional autonomy. You begin reclaiming peace the moment you decide that your emotions will no longer depend on someone else's behavior. That decision feels lonely at first, but it's the start of self-respect. You learn to pause before reacting, to breathe before replying, to think before returning to what broke you. This is praxis Stoicism in motion. Every moment you choose calm over craving, you grow stronger. 12. The mind's resistance to change. Even when you understand detachment logically, the heart resists. It says, maybe they'll come back. Maybe if I wait. Stoicism teaches not to destroy hope, but to refine it. Hope for your own peace, not for someone else's return. Hope that you'll heal, not that the story will repeat. The universe changes. You must change with it. That is alignment, not defeat. 13. Detachment as discipline. Detachment isn't a mood, it's a practice. It means choosing stillness again and again until the habit of clinging fades. Some days you'll feel strong, others weak. Both are part of training. Marcus Aurelius said, if it's endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining. Each moment of longing endured with calm strengthens your emotional discipline. In time, the same triggers that once shook you will no longer move you. 14. Transforming pain into understanding. Pain is raw energy. You can waste it or refine it. When you detach mindfully, you convert pain into wisdom. You learn your emotional patterns, your fears, your values. You become more aware, more compassionate, more balanced. Detachment doesn't erase love, it purifies it. It teaches you to love people as they are, not as you wish they'd be. 15. Acceptance, the gateway to peace. Acceptance is the doorway every Stoic walks through. It's not passive, it's powerful. It says, this happened, it hurt, I'll grow anyway. It refuses to make the past the enemy of the present. Once you accept, the mind quiets. And in that quiet, detachment is no longer an effort, it's a natural state of peace. 16. Transition. We've examined why attachment forms, why it lingers, and how it begins to dissolve through awareness and acceptance. In part 2, we'll go step by step through the Stoic path to detachment, reclaiming your peace and power. Practical disciplines, reflections, and mental habits that transform emotional chaos into calm control. Because the art of detachment isn't about erasing love, it's about learning to love without losing yourself. Part 2, the Stoic path to detachment, reclaiming your peace and power. 1. The moment you begin to take your power. Back. Emotional detachment is not a single decision. It begins the moment you realize something important. You cannot heal while handing someone else your peace. The instant you decide, my happiness will no longer depend on their behavior, you take back control of your emotional life. That's the turning point from chaos to calm, from clinging to clarity. Detachment is not about cutting feelings, it's about cutting the chains of emotional dependence. You still care, but you no longer collapse. You still remember, but you no longer rewind. You still wish them well, but you stop wishing yourself away. 2. The Stoic framework for inner freedom. The Stoics believed every human being has two realms: the realm of control, your thoughts, your actions, your attitude; the realm beyond control, everything else, other people, outcomes, and time. Emotional attachment is the confusion of these two. When you try to control what's beyond you, another's choices, feelings, or return, you lose peace. When you focus on what's within your discipline, your reaction, your presence, you regain freedom. Epictetus said, happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control and some things are not. To detach, live from the inside out, not the outside in. 3. Step 1. Observe without acting. When emotions surge, the natural impulse is to react, text, call, explain, justify. But the Stoic learns to pause. Marcus Aurelius trained himself daily. You have power over your mind, not outside events. The pause is where power lives. Every time you resist the impulse to reach out for reassurance, you strengthen emotional independence. The emotion may still rise, but you learn to watch it like a wave instead of drowning in it. That's the first practice of detachment: observation over reaction. 4. Step 2. Journal your mind, not your pain. Stoics were early psychologists. They journaled daily not to record events, but to audit their thoughts. When detaching, write down what you feel, what triggered it, what belief lies beneath it. Is it in your control? For example, they didn't text me back. Belief, that means I'm not valued. Stoic correction, their silence reflects their state, not my worth. This reprograms the mind to separate self-value from external response. You stop personalizing every silence. You start interpreting through reason, not emotion. 5. Step 3. Shift focus from them to you. Attachment feeds on attention. The more you think about someone, the more power you give them. So redirect attention toward growth. Instead of why did they leave, ask what can I learn? Instead of when will they return, ask how can I return to myself? Growth replaces obsession. Stoicism doesn't tell you to suppress love. It teaches you to channel energy toward virtue, discipline, gratitude, wisdom, and self-respect. If you feed these, attachment naturally starves. 6. Step 4 practice: voluntary discomfort. The Stoics trained for hardship to make peace with it. They practiced sleeping on the floor, fasting, or going without luxuries, not as punishment, but preparation. You can do the same emotionally. Spend time without their contact. Sit with the discomfort of silence. It will feel unnatural at first, But every minute you endure without seeking validation, your self-control strengthens. Seneca said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." Detachment is not built in comfort. It's built in those lonely moments when you choose peace over panic. 7. Step 5. Stop arguing with reality. Attachment lives in the words should and could. They should have stayed. It could have worked. But Stoicism rejects arguments with reality. Epictetus said, "Do not wish for events to happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do happen, and your life will go well." This isn't fatalism, it's freedom, because when you stop demanding that life obey your plans, you start living in harmony with truth. Peace begins when you stop rewriting what already happened. 8. Step 6. Cultivate inner stillness. A storm outside only shakes you if you're hollow inside. To detach emotionally, you must build a quiet center, a place within you that remains calm no matter what changes externally. You can find that stillness through simple Stoic meditation. Each morning, breathe and remind yourself, "I own my thoughts. I guide my responses. I am enough." Then picture yourself watching thoughts pass like clouds. You don't stop the clouds, you stop identifying with them. That's detachment, the discipline of letting thoughts come and go without reacting to each one. 9. Step 7. Reclaim your identity. When you've been attached deeply, it's easy to forget who you were before them. Reclaim your identity by returning to the things that once made you alive, your routines, your learning, your creativity, your friendships. Detachment isn't only about stepping away from someone, it's about stepping back into yourself. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one you find peace not by replacing people, but by rebuilding purpose. Fill the space they left with growth." 10. Step 8. Transform love into gratitude. Love doesn't always end when connection ends, but you can transform it. Instead of asking, like, "Why didn't it last, Maggie?" say, "Thank you for what it taught me." Gratitude dissolves resentment. It changes energy from clinging to acceptance. You can love someone for who they were without needing them in your future. That's mature affection, love refined through wisdom. 11. Step 9. Train the mind to let go daily. Emotional detachment isn't a one-time act, it's daily discipline. Each morning, remind yourself what's in your control. Each night, reflect on where your emotions overstepped. Use this nightly Stoic reflection. Did I cling today? Did I act from fear or from wisdom? What can I release tomorrow? Every reflection moves you closer to calm. Every calm reaction becomes a habit, and habits become freedom. 12. Step 10. Redefine strength. Modern society calls detachment cold, but Stoicism defines it as courage, the courage to stand still while the world moves on. You're not running away from feeling. You're learning how to feel without self-destruction. You're not closing your heart. You're fortifying it with understanding. Detachment is emotional adulthood, no longer blaming others for your peace. Seneca wrote, "It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable." When you master detachment, heartbreak may still visit, but it won't conquer you. 13. Step 11. Mindful compassion. True detachment includes compassion for yourself and others. You forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve freedom. You let go, not because the love was false, but because peace is more valuable. The Stoics believed compassion is the wisdom of seeing humanity as one fragile, flawed learning. When you detach with kindness, bitterness dissolves. You no longer say, They hurt me. You say they were human, and so am I. That is peace beyond pride. 14, Step 12. Replace reaction with ritual. When emotions hit, have rituals ready. Instead of checking your phone, go for a walk. Instead of overthinking, write gratitude. Instead of imagining conversations, meditate. Discipline replaces drama. Each ritual builds resilience. Remember, the Stoic doesn't wait to feel strong. They practice strength until it feels natural. 15. The emotional balance point. Emotional detachment doesn't mean you never connect again. It means your connections no longer cost you peace. The balance point is when you can care deeply and stay calm. You can love without ownership. You can feel without falling. You can remember without reopening wounds. That's the quiet confidence Stoicism aims for emotional self-command. 16. Transition. You've learned the Stoic framework and daily disciplines for detachment, observation, reflection, gratitude, and stillness. But emotional peace isn't tested in silence. It's tested in chaos. In Part 3, we'll explore how to stay detached when emotions return, when the person reappears, when memories resurface, when loneliness tempts you back. We'll talk about resilience, how to remain unshaken even when the past knocks again. Part 3, resilience in emotion, staying detached when the past returns one. When the past knocks again, detachment isn't tested on calm days. It's tested when old emotions return, when you see their name pop up, when a memory catches you off guard, when loneliness whispers, just one message won't hurt. In that moment, your mind replays the best parts and forgets the lessons. The heart negotiates, the reason warns. The Stoic doesn't deny the feeling. He simply pauses and observes. He tells himself this is a thought, not a command. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. The emotion may arrive uninvited, but your reaction is still yours." That's resilience, feeling the tug of the past and choosing stillness anyway. 2. Understanding emotional echoes. The mind stores emotional patterns like echoes in a canyon. Even after the sound ends, it takes time for the echo to fade. You may think, why am I still thinking of them? I thought I was over it. You are, but your nervous system isn't yet. Attachment forms pathways, detachment rewires them. Each time you respond differently, each time you choose calm over contact, you weaken the old connection and strengthen self-control. So don't mistake recurring emotion for regression. It's just the echo of old attachment fading. 3. Recognizing triggers. A scent, a song, a place, all can reawaken memories. You can't stop triggers, but you can prepare for them. When one hits, breathe and name it. This is nostalgia. It's not reality. Then redirect your focus to the present moment. The Stoics practice this constantly, reminding themselves that the mind drifts, and discipline is simply bringing it back. Every time you bring your attention home, you rebuild emotional muscles. 4. The temptation to reconnect. When detachment starts working, peace feels strange. The mind looks for familiar chaos. It calls it closure, checking in, one last talk. Epictetus would call this testing your training. Ask yourself, is this impulse driven by peace or by pain? Am I seeking clarity or comfort? Will this restore strength or drain it? If the answer points toward pain, stay still. Not every door that opens deserves to be walked through again. 5. Loneliness versus emptiness. Loneliness is the natural silence after disconnection. Emptiness is believing that silence means you're unworthy. The Stoic separates the two. He knows loneliness is just space waiting to be filled with growth. Seneca wrote, "A wise man is content with himself." Use the quiet to rediscover yourself, to read, learn, create, reflect. Don't rush to fill silence with noise. Silence is where peace grows roots. 6. The strength of non-reaction. The most powerful response is often none. Silence is not weakness, it's containment. When you don't react, you stop feeding the loop that keeps pain alive. In time, you realize that not every thought requires expression and not every memory deserves attention. The Stoic trains the mind like a warrior trains reflexes by learning when not to strike. 7. How to handle emotional relapses. Sometimes you'll slip. You'll check the message, revisit the profile, reread old chats. Don't shame yourself, just recognize what happened and return to discipline. Every relapse is a lesson in self-awareness. Ask, what triggered me? What need was I trying to fill? Growth isn't perfection, it's consistency. Marcus Aurelius said, when you are jarred, return to yourself quickly. That's all detachment requires, returning faster each time. 8. Dealing with regret. Regret is attachment to an alternate past. You tell yourself, if only I had said this, done that, but the Stoic knows the past cannot be edited, only learned from. Seneca wrote, no man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity. Regret is proof that you cared. Use it as a teacher, not a jailer. Ask, what will I do differently next time? Then let it go. 9. When they reach out again. Sometimes the person you're detaching from returns. Maybe they miss you. Maybe they're lonely. Maybe life shifted. Before responding, breathe. Remember why you began this process. Ask yourself, am I healed enough to engage without reopening old wounds? If not, wish them well and keep moving. Detachment is not revenge, it's self-respect. 10. Rebuilding trust in yourself. After emotional pain, many people lose trust not in others, but in their own judgment. You think, how did I not see it? How could I let this happen? The Stoic answer, because you were human and learning. To rebuild trust, act according to reason, not fear. Each calm decision rebuilds faith in your own clarity. That's how you heal, not by proving others wrong, but by proving to yourself that you can stay composed. 11. The practice of emotional minimalism. Detach by simplifying what you consume emotionally, fewer conversations about them, fewer mental replays, less exposure to reminders. The Stoics valued minimalism not just in possessions, but in mental clutter. Reduce input, increase stillness. What you stop feeding eventually starves. 12. Compassion for the self. Harsh self-criticism is another form of attachment. It keeps you tied to failure. Epictetus taught, no great thing is created suddenly. Forgive yourself for the time it took to learn. You are doing your best with the awareness you had. Compassion creates space for growth. Shame blocks it. Be gentle with yourself the way you wished others had been with you. 13. Building a new inner dialogue. Notice how you speak to yourself. Change. I can't believe I still miss them, to I'm grateful I can feel deeply. Change. I wasted years, to I invested in lessons I now understand. Language shapes emotion. Every self-respecting sentence builds new neural ground where peace can stand. 14. The gift of perspective. When attachment fades, gratitude takes its place. You start seeing the relationship not as a loss, but as a teacher. It showed you your boundaries, your patterns, your capacity to love. Even heartbreak refines the soul if you let it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The pain became your path. Walk it with dignity. 15. Emotional equanimity. Equanimity means balance the mind that neither exalts in joy nor collapses in sorrow. The Stoic trains to stay level in all weather, so when the past returns, they don't panic. They observe. When love returns, they don't cling. They appreciate. Balance is not indifference, it's maturity. 16. The calm after healing. At first, detachment feels like emptiness, but one day you'll notice the quiet feels peaceful, not painful. You'll hear your own thoughts again and realize they're kind. That's the sign you've detached with wisdom, not bitterness. You don't wish them harm. You simply no longer need their validation. You have reclaimed yourself. 17. Transition resilience isn't avoiding emotion, it's staying centered within it. You've learned how to face triggers, silence, and return of the past with discipline and grace. In Part 4, we'll complete this journey with Freedom Through Detachment, how to transform solitude into power, how to build new relationships without losing peace, and how to remain open yet unshakable. Because the goal of detachment isn't to stop loving, it's to love wisely, freely, and without fear. Part 4. Freedom Through Detachment. Living light, loving wisely, and remaining unshaken one. When detachment turns into freedom, there comes a quiet morning when you realize the storm has passed. The same thoughts that once tore you apart now drift through your mind like clouds. You can remember without pain, see their name without reaction, hear the old song without the ache. That moment is freedom. Not because you stopped feeling, but because you stopped clinging. You still have compassion, but no dependency. You still have memory, but no attachment. That's what the Stoics called ataraxia, a state of calm untroubledness. It doesn't mean life is easy, it means you've become steady. 2. Understanding the nature of freedom. Real freedom isn't doing whatever you want. It's not needing to control what you can't. It's the ability to be at peace regardless of circumstance. Epictetus was once a slave, yet he wrote more about freedom than most emperors. No man is free who is not master of himself. Freedom is self-command. When you no longer hand others your mood, your value, or your direction, you become unconquerable. Emotional detachment is that mastery and practice, the art of staying whole in a changing world. 3. The lightness of letting go. When you finally release what you are gripping, you discover how much energy you had been wasting. The mind becomes lighter. The body breathes easier. Holding on was never love. It was resistance. Letting go is the act of trusting life again. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Let the part of you that is divine guide the rest, as it chooses what is best." You're not rejecting love, you're choosing alignment with peace. You walk forward not because you've stopped caring, but because you've remembered your worth. 4. The Stoic form of love. The Stoic doesn't stop loving. They love wisely. They understand that every person is a traveler in time's current, here now, gone eventually. To love wisely means to enjoy someone fully without believing they belong to you. You appreciate the shared season without demanding permanence. That kind of love can't destroy you because it's built on freedom, not fear. It says, "I love you, but I belong to peace." 5. Turning solitude into strength. Detachment opens space that used to be filled with worry. Don't rush to fill it with noise, fill it with growth. Use solitude to rebuild discipline, curiosity, and creativity. Read deeply, move your body, reflect daily. Seneca said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you. That includes yourself. Become the kind of person whose company feels healing." When you no longer fear being alone, you attract relationships based on choice, not need. 6. The new definition of strength. Before, you thought strength was holding on. Now you know strength is letting go with grace. Strength is not coldness, it's composure, not rejection, but redirection, not bitterness, but balance. It's being able to wish them well and still move forward. It's being able to feel love and not lose logic. It's the power to choose peace over proof. 7. Building future connections without fear. Detachment doesn't make you distant, it makes you discerning. You don't stop caring, you stop collapsing. When new people enter your life, you no longer hand them the steering wheel. You offer connection without losing center. You stay open, but not empty. You know how to give affection without giving away control. That's emotional maturity, the ability to love with boundaries and compassion together. 8. Living by Stoic simplicity. The Stoics lived by one simple rule: possess little, depend on less, appreciate everything. Apply this to emotions. Don't possess people, depend on few outcomes, appreciate every moment as it comes. When expectations fade, appreciation grows, and appreciation is the soil of contentment. Seneca wrote, "He who is contented with little possesses everything." Detach not from love itself, but from excess desire. Simplicity is the quiet wealth of peace. 9. Detachment and forgiveness. To forgive is to untie the last knot of attachment. Resentment binds you to the past as tightly as affection once did. Forgive not to excuse, but to free. Say to yourself, they acted from their understanding. I act from mine. That doesn't mean return, it means release. Your peace is too sacred to keep revisiting wounds. Forgiveness is emotional cleanliness, clearing the residue of what's gone so your heart can breathe again. 10. Living in the present. Attachment thrives in the past and the future. Peace lives only in the present. Marcus Aurelius advised, confine yourself to the present. Right now you have everything you need: breath, awareness, choice. In this moment, there is no loss, only life. Each time your mind drifts to what was or could be, bring it home. The present is the only place detachment exists. 11. Gratitude as emotional armor. Gratitude keeps the heart open and the ego quiet. When you're grateful, you can't cling, you can only appreciate. Be grateful for what they gave, for what you learned, even for the ending that shaped you. Gratitude turns every loss into wisdom. That's how Stoics stayed joyful in difficulty, by counting meaning, not misfortune. 12. The unshakable mind. Through all these practices, you reach the Stoic goal, an unshakable mind. You will still feel, but you won't fall. You will still care, but you won't crave. You will still connect, but you won't collapse. Nothing outside can rule you anymore. You've become whole within yourself. Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Let the world misunderstand your calm. Those who rush call peace detachment. Those who suffer call discipline cold. You know the truth. Composure is power. 13. The circle of detachment. The process is complete when what once triggered pain now inspires gratitude. You see that person, and instead of longing, you silently thank them. You were part of my becoming. I release you with peace. That's the circle closing. You don't erase the chapter, you finish it. You don't harden your heart, you deepen it. Detachment has transformed love from dependence into understanding. 14. What freedom feels. 14. What freedom feels like. Freedom is quiet. It's walking through your day without emotional weight. It's sleeping through the night without checking a phone. It's feeling joy without guilt, peace without permission. You smile not because you forgot, but because you finally remember yourself. That's the moment you know you're free, not from love, but through it. 15. Living as a Stoic in modern love Stoicism isn't a rejection of emotion. It's an invitation to manage it wisely. It teaches you to love as a choice, not a dependency. to care deeply while standing tall. When you meet new people, don't fear attachment, just practice awareness. Remind yourself daily, they are part of life's flow, not my foundation. That mindset keeps you free and kind, grounded and open. 16. Passing the lesson forward. Once you master detachment, you become an example. Others will see your calm and ask, how did you do it? Share what you've learned. That peace is a discipline, not a coincidence. That love without attachment is possible. That letting go is not loss, it's alignment. In teaching others, your freedom becomes service. And that is the highest Stoic virtue wisdom used for the good of all. And 17. Closing reflection, the calm beyond control. You can't control who stays, who leaves, or what changes, but you can always control how gracefully you walk through it. You can love without ownership. You can detach without bitterness. You can care without collapsing. That's emotional mastery, the art of staying whole while everything else shifts. So if you're in the process of detaching, remember, you're not walking away from love, you're walking back toward peace. And when peace returns, love will follow, this time wiser, freer, and grounded in calm. Thank you.